Warning, this video contains team selection and captain choices which some viewers may find offensive.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before looking ahead to my team for Game Week 7, let's quickly review how my team performed in Game Week 6. And as always, if you enjoy the video, be sure to support the channel by dropping a like and getting subscribed to FPL TV. The budget Crystal Palace double-up paid dividends this week, with Hennessy and Wan-Bissaka racking up 17 points between them against Newcastle. The pair look to be solid options for the next 3 game weeks, but their fixtures do get considerably more difficult from Game Week 10 onwards. Elsewhere, it was a full house of defensive returns this week, with both Alonso and Laporte picking up clean sheets. With Benjamin Mendy out injured, it was him who made way in my transfers for Game Week 6, but already owning his teammate Laporte made that an easier decision for me. There was very little offered from my midfield this week, with Hazard and Ryan Fraser failing to follow up their massive point scores in Game Week 5. Despite the blanks in this game week though, that's still 43 points between them over the 2 game weeks, so no complaints can be made there. After much deliberation with captaincy for Game Week 6, I ended up settling with Mo Salah, and even though it wasn't a massive score from the Egyptian, it still ended up being the correct decision between him, Aguero and Hazard. As mentioned in my last video, I had the chance to bring in James Maddison last week, but I ended up opting for a punt on Tottenham's Son instead. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for Game Week 6, with Maddison scoring and Son blanking, but this was a longer term decision with Tottenham's upcoming fixtures in mind. Son now faces Huddersfield and Cardiff in his next 2, so hopefully he turns out to be a decent signing for me. Up front, Aguero returned points for the 4th time this season, scoring 1 goal against Cardiff. Despite this consistent return of points, it still left many managers frustrated, with the Argentine being subbed off around the 60-minute mark for the 2nd game week running, but I guess that's part and parcel of owning a Man City player under Pep Guardiola. Mitrovic once again proved excellent value for money, bagging his 5th goal of the season and claiming 8 points in the process. The Fulham striker has now been involved in 6 of his team's 8 goals so far this season. And lastly for Game Week 6, Wilfried Zaha drew a blank in his match against Newcastle. I think it's fair to say that he hasn't really hit top gear yet this season, but I'm still pretty happy to own him for the next few game weeks at least, with an eye to potentially switching him to Arnautovic in a few weeks' time. So that's a respectable 69 points for Game Week 6, and it's given me a total score of 426 overall. This was enough to give me a small green arrow and halved my rank to just outside the top 10,000. So let's move on now to Game Week 7 and see how my team is set to line up for this weekend's fixtures. For Game Week 7, there's definitely a few players on my watch list, with Maddison continuing his fine run of form, Everton's Richarlison playing a very leaky Fulham, and Harry Kane facing a tantalising fixture against league strugglers Huddersfield. The most likely outcome for my team this game week though, is that I won't be making any moves this week and simply carrying over my free transfer. As you know, I decided to bring in Tottenham's Son over both Richarlison and Maddison last week, so I've got to ride out that decision now and hope it pays off. As for Harry Kane, it's just not a realistic transfer for my team this week, as it'd mean losing the likes of Aguero or Salah and costing me at least 4 points in the process. So as much as I'd like to own him, I'm simply hoping Son can be enough Spurs cover this game week. So with no transfer activity to report, let's see how my team will line up for Game Week 7. And if anything does change, I'll be sure to notify you over on the FPL TV Twitter page. With only one playing goalkeeper in my squad, Wayne Hennessy of course retains his spot this game week. He's currently ranked as the highest scoring FPL goalkeeper now, but I'm not expecting much in this away game to Bournemouth. It'll be a back 3 this week, with my new signing from last game week Doherty making his debut for my side. He'll be alongside Laporte and Alonso, all boasting home fixtures this weekend, and I'd say Man City and Wolves both have a good chance of keeping clean sheets. My midfield stays the same, with Salah and Hazard facing each other this game week. It's a tough result to call, so I guess we'll just have to hope for a high scoring game in this one. As for Son, I'll be hoping my differential can do the business against Huddersfield this game week, but with Lamela scoring last weekend, that's definitely a rotation concern for me. The forward line also stays the same, with my front 3 playing teams who have only managed one single clean sheet between the 3 of them. Brighton and Everton are without a clean sheet, and Bournemouth only have one, so fingers crossed for some decent returns here. With Aguero not even making Man City's squad for their League Cup game yesterday, that gives us some nice assurances that he'll start their home game against Brighton. So as things stand, the captaincy armband will go to him, and I don't think I'll be changing that come the deadline. As for the bench, I do have the option to play a double Wolves defence this game week, with Bennett waiting in the wings, but there's no one in my side I really want to drop, so I don't think there's a chance he plays. I'll likely be placing him as first position on my bench though, in front of Wan-Bissaka, as I think Wolves have a better chance of a clean sheet than Palace do. So that's how my team is currently looking for Game Week 7. As always, I'll be posting my final team lineup over on Twitter about 10 minutes before the deadline on Saturday, so if anything changes, you can find updates on there. Good luck to all of you for Game Week 7, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.